the reason why I was very much for us moving from the ISL to the LPI is because for decades Indonesian football has been infiltrated by corruption and unfair play, and something needed to take place. And a big thing is not using government funding anymore, so that government funding can be directed to where it's supposed to go. Great pitches around cities, around villages across Indonesia. The pitches are the same condition than the pitches that I grew up on, which is obviously this is something that's unacceptable. Indonesia is not a poor country. They definitely can do this, have great stadiums, have good pitches around the nation, if only they have the right policies. And so we moved to this controversial league, and we've done well so far. We played 5 times, won 4 times, and tied 1 time. And we just hope to take 1 game at a time. Of course, because the other teams are not as bad as a lot of people think they are. Of course, we are more gelled as a team. We've been together longer, but when it comes down to it, it's still about passion and desire, and sometimes a little bit of luck. And so we can only take it 1 game at a time, and the other teams are getting better.
Right. I know as a coach, coaches very rarely like to highlight individual players, but I just want to maybe compare and contrast between the ISL at the start of the season and then the LPI now, and the coverage that Persema as a football team, as a football club gets. Are you finding that you're much more in the much more media attention now than you used to?
Definitely, because I've always been a reformist. The grassroots movement, the people see me as a voice for them, and I can do that because unlike other coaches, I don't care if I get fired. I can still be a teacher and be happy with it, and so I can be idealistic. Not everyone has that luxury, and so it's not just me being a reformist, but also because Irfan decided to come back to Persema. Kim, very exciting player as well. They're both young, so they're attracting a lot of attention, media and public-wise.
As a coach, are you worried that maybe they're going to get a bit too much attention, or maybe that it might affect them and their mentality? And that you hear often.
Sure, I actually came to visit Irfan during the AFF Cup because I was worried that would happen, but I asked him one time, how did you feel about hearing your name being chanted across the stadium? He says, oh, they did that? I didn't hear it. And he actually doesn't read newspapers, he doesn't watch TV, so he's not very affected by it, and he's very European, even though he's half Indonesian, he's very European. So even though he's young, he can deal with it, I believe, a lot better than an Indonesian young player would in his place.
Okay. You've got, obviously the attention is on your young lads like Irfan and Kim, but you've got a couple of older heads in the team, players like Robbie Gaspar and Bima Sakti. How important are they and their experience as a balance to the youthful?
Very important, because it's all about balance, isn't it? The young players bring vigor, they bring desire, they bring pace. And players like Robbie Gaspar brings hard work, brings the amount of experience that's very needed. And his long balls are crucial. He makes the runs that other players won't do. Very hard worker. Bima Sakti is that way as well. A very brilliant leader. I believe the best captain in Indonesia. He's been to Lucerne, Swiss. He played for a Swedish team. I believe I forgot which.
Helsingborg,
I believe, or I forgot. But he's been to Sweden and Switzerland
and Italy
as a young player, and so and Italy as well. And so he's seen how football is played in Europe. he's brought that wealth of experience with him. He's a very disciplined player. So even though he's 34 now, he still is very strong. Robbie and Bima are the strongest in terms of physical fitness, which fits their position. They're center mid players. And there are other players as well, like Sutaji is 36, I believe the most technically gifted player but he had in Indonesia, but he's had to deal with quite a bit of injuries. But nonetheless, in practice, even though he doesn't get to play very much, he gives that wealth of knowledge down to the other players. And so we have a mixture of young and old, and also our foreigners are not grumpy foreigners. They came to earn a living and are decent about it. They know they're in Indonesia, so they understand the conditions.
Yeah.
So I've really looked after the character traits of my players. I don't just get a player to present my based on their abilities on the pitch. And I pride myself of having a fair bit of knowledge about people.
Right.
I think it's one of my strengths, and so I'm able to judge quite rightly most of the time about people's character.
We're 5 games into the LPI. You got a big game tomorrow against
Bogoraya.
Yeah, we're in Bogor, oh my God, Bogoraya. Looking ahead, do you see the season? I mean, give me the controversy around it. Can you see a future for the LPI?
Sorry?
Can you see a future for the LPI? Can you see it being here in 3 years, 5 years?
I wouldn't have moved to LPI, even though it's a good idea, a good movement to shock the old system, to hope the least. But I would have moved if I didn't see government sponsorship behind it. I see the minister-president, the sports minister behind it, and I see the president himself behind it. And so with money in the person of Arifin Panigoro and with government support, you put one-on-one together, and I do believe it's going to continue. I don't know how long, whether it's going to continue over 2 seasons, let's say. I hope they're going to find some kind of midway to fix this mess in the future, but it all depends on what's going to happen in March, I suppose, with the elections of the Football Federation.
Talking about things continuing, my last question to you, Timo. Can you see your fine start to the season continuing, and can you see Persima lifting some silverware at the end of the season?
Obviously, every player, every coach likes to dream about that, but we take one day at a time. We really do. It's a long season. It's going to be going on until November, and this is only, February? So it's very premature.
So 1 game at a time, and the important one is tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't like anything premature. No connotations there.
You're still being recorded. Carry on.
All right.